Still in the spirit of the independence celebration, the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, today granted amnesty to 13 inmates who are serving jail terms for various offences at the Kaduna convict prison. In a broadcast to the people of Kaduna State and Nigerians in general, Governor El-Rufai is optimistic that the country is on the right path in spite of her current challenges.
Independence anniversary is a moment for us to give thanks to the Almighty God that has preserved us amidst all the storms and stresses. But it is also a time to reflect on how we as citizens, as leaders, can contribute to strengthen our country, uphold peace and harmony within it, and embrace the common humanity that shines so brilliantly through our diversity. There is so much that is noble and necessary that we must do together. In peace and harmony, we can work to jointly build a society that secures better life chances for our people. Poverty knows no tribe, language, or religion, and the limitations it places on people are not eased by appeals to primordial sentiments. Rather than enable a few of our selfish political elite in their pastime of seeking personal advantage through exploiting ethnic, regional, and religious fault lines, let us build a strong constituency that demands and works for equality of opportunity for all. There is much to be done to guarantee decent education for our people, deliver affordable health care, and create the enabling environment for mass job creation that cures poverty and hopelessness.
Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari will tomorrow, Sunday, October the 1st, make a state broadcast to Nigerians on the occasion of the 57th Independence Anniversary at 7 in the morning. Your multiple award-winning station, Channels Television, will bring you a special Independence Day program with the theme Nigeria in Need of a Rebirth, showing the nation's journey from independence till date, live on Channels Television. That's on Sunday, October the 1st. The program will be transmitted from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and will focus on politics, security, energy, social infrastructure, the judiciary, amongst other things. So please join us on Sunday as Nigeria clocks 57. A sigh of relief for patients as the Joint Health Sector Union has suspended its industrial action in principle following a meeting between its leadership and the federal government team in Abuja today. As a result, the union has asked its members to resume work on Wednesday next week after a meeting of its executive members, which will take place on Tuesday, to ratify the decision. The union is demanding, amongst other things, that the government pay the salary arrears of their members. It's the second conciliation meeting with the striking Joint Health Workers Union, JOHESU. In the absence of the two senior ministers involved in the negotiations, that is the Minister of Health and the Minister of Labour and Employment, the Minister of State for Labour chairs the meeting. In his opening remarks, he expresses optimism that the issues will be resolved once and for all, even though the leadership of the striking workers showed dissatisfaction with the way the government has been responding to the issues.
We're not here for any fresh negotiation any longer, because all the issues have been exhaustively discussed and resolved. So we are here to take the feedback from the leadership of JOHESU.
Ordinarily, I and my colleagues would have said, well, we have been treated the way we used to know. The way we used to know. That this is another example of treating us in this way. But for the love, and so we would have just rise up here to step out. I want to say that we are happy to be here with you because of the Nigerian citizens. And so we will commence our day.
The meeting then enters into a closed-door session. 8 hours later, journalists are invited into the conference room as both sides reach an agreement.
We have exhaustively deliberated on all issues. JOHESU agreed at the end of this meeting to suspend the ongoing strike.
In principle, the strike, as read out, is suspended.
Outside the hall, The president of JOHESU gives more details on when his members are to resume work.
In principle, we have suspended the strike, but it will go into practical practice after we have briefed our NEC, and NEC has ratified this agreement. So hopefully by Tuesday or latest Wednesday, not beyond Wednesday, they will be all back in their duty posts.
The Joint Health Sector Union has been on strike for 2 weeks, a situation that has unleashed untold hardship on many patients in federal hospitals across the country. And still on health issues, the Kaduna State government has intensified its campaign for the elimination of mother-to-child HIV transmission. Pleased with the results of the campaign so far, healthcare providers at a meeting to review results renewed their commitment to the goal.
A lot of work has been going on in Kaduna State. Research spanning 4 years to find ways of reducing mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS, which is a major avenue for infection. The results of the research, dubbed Inspire, when translated from the Hausa language, are out. And at this meeting, players in the HIV prevention program share their successes.
Today's exercise signals the end of a very exciting research. It is good that best practices in Kaduna State have been documented on retaining HIV-positive pregnant women in care after delivery.
We are creating community awareness. We are educating providers on how to educate clients. In 2011 specifically, we had only 87 sites that were providing mother-to-child transmission services. But over the years, we have scaled up very rapidly. We scaled up to over 400 sites, 461, and now the state have over 600 sites.
The Commissioner for Health in the state is optimistic about the future of HIV-positive women in the state and the children born to them, following the scale-up of care for such women during and after pregnancy.
We were only able to retain 40% of women. So the research was aimed at finding ways and best practices that we can adopt in order to retain more women. And I'm glad to report that, following this research, we now know that we're able to retain 74% of such mothers and their children.
But some challenges are slow to give way.
Stigma is still a big issue. Women who are HIV positive need a lot of support from their partners, from their families, from their communities. But in some situations, these women don't have those kind of support.
The Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission Project is funded by Global Affairs Canada with technical support from the World Health Organization. Currently running in Kaduna and Benue states, the ultimate goal of the venture is to eliminate mother-to-child HIV transmission.
21 years after the creation of Bayelsa State, residents of Yenagoa, the state capital, are yet to have access to free potable water and have to rely on building a personal borehole or patronize the local water vendors, commonly known as Miruwa. Although the state government has promised to provide drinking water for them, it appears the people are already running out of patience.
Water, especially potable water, is one of the basic needs of mankind. But this basic amenity is threatened by the inability to access it. Here in Bayelsa State, a riverine area, water is everywhere, yet residents daily thirst and cry for the provision of potable water. Madam Evelyn Emma is a food vendor. She says the absence of potable water in Yenagoa, the state capital, is negatively affecting her business. She must patronize local water vendors to stay in business, but that affects her gain.
I come by Asa 2010, I book water they buy. And they worry me for my business. They then do water. They then do borehole so that we're going to fish free water.
This civil servant has been on the lookout for the water vendors for over 30 minutes. The source of water from the vendors is a huge concern for the residents. Roadside taps like these are usually where the vendors get their water with no proof that the water is treated for consumption. Emeka Ikpo, a water vendor, says the business is profitable because everyone is always in need of water. For this lady, she says she expends a huge amount of money to get portable water daily.
Possibly we got water from this Merua, and it's very, very hard to come by because sometimes you need to book them for them to supply you the water first.
We visit the Commissioner for Water Resources in the state, Tobona Talbot, and he offers an explanation on the situation.
Bayelsa, as a state, is affected by the salinic effect of the salty nature of our water at the riverine areas and the iron content on the upland.
Mr. Talbot promises that the water crisis will soon come to an end, but adds that the residents will have to part with some funds.
For us to move forward as a state, in terms of delivery of potable and safe drinking water, we must imbibe, we must key into this agenda of parting with a little of our resources.
These water tankers were purchased by the Bayelsa State government for the distribution of water to residents in Yenagoa, but the tanks have never functioned. It is rather a cheering news that the government is set to make portable water available for its residents, but many are skeptical about the actualization of the plan, hoping it won't end up as a lip service.
When the news at 10 returns, Central Bank of Nigeria to offer about 130 billion naira in treasury bills next week as federal government plans more Eurobond flotation in the fourth quarter. That's on Business News. Join us again.